do feel like it's like keeps being Christmas morning. Um, to share with you one of my favorite humans on the planet, and that's Erin Lindbergh. And Erin, gosh, I met Erin through, chance, serendipity, good luck, amazing timing. I don't know what it was. It involved a nest being found on a road and pulling up at the right cafe, needing a charger and my plug. It's a grand story how the two of us actually met. And it's also just a true honor to get to introduce you to her because not many people would find or get to even be exposed to the great medicine that Erin brings us because she lives in a very, very remote part of, on a very remote island, you know. And so this is one of the amazing things about Zoom in our times is that we do get access to people that we would normally never get to connect with. And so she's really bringing us a certain kind of extraordinary resonance of really being connected to the land and connected to the land that she lives on and connected to the body. And she's going to guide us through a gentle and perceptive exploration through our inner landscapes. And we're going to be navigating our mind terrain, through our body, through our breath, through our voice, and a little bit about Erin. She comes originally from rural Montana. Now she's in very rural in the jungle of East Maui, and she's a tendress of the terra firma. She's a writer of its story, a yogini of moving poetry. She's an Ayurvedic nurturer. She's a devotee of ducks. I would say this is in her bio, but she's a stopper of time. She moves in a whole other form of landscape of time. And she's a true, true gift, and it is an honor to get to share her with you today. Um, just a couple of like notes in terms of process. I'm about to hand over the reins to Erin completely. If you have questions, Erin's requested that you place yourself if you can hold your questions to the end because we're going to be in a movement expression. But if you have questions, put your hand up. Don't do the thing. Don't do the techno hand. Actually, like place your hand up. And I would say for everyone who can be this is a very experiential class. So if you can be on video, I think you will have the best experience. And I think that's all from me. I'm going to pass it over to Erin. I'm going to spotlight her. So for some of you, that's going to make her goes big on your screen. If you want to go back to gallery view, you can choose that, but I'll leave it from here. Okay. Yay, Erin.
Aloha, Leah. Aloha, all. Really great to be here this morning. I'm going to go to gallery view here. Yeah, so I can see everybody. How wonderful. I want to put my glasses on so I can see you better. Oh, what lovely creators you are. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, this morning I was out early, right before sitting down here in my living room, feeding my ducks and the cats. And there's this beautiful, what they call uakea rain. It's the kind of light, white, misty rain that's very, distinctive of this area near Hana in East Maui. And it's been really hot and dry, so it's really lovely this morning to just feel the grace of that rain coming down and all the birds and the life responding to it. The trees opening their lao, their hands, and the leaves of the grass collecting the rain, and the little tiny manjitos, little birds flying around and drinking the dew, and very, very sweet morning, beautiful morning. And the ocean, I live right on the cliff edge here of the Alenui Haha Channel. On the other side of the channel is the big island with Mauna Kea, the mountain, as people call it. Yeah. And it's a really calm day on the ocean. So yeah, when I practice here, which is pretty much life, life is practice, as you all know, there's this presence of the ocean and the steady and ever-changing rhythm of its breath, which guides me in my own authentic breath, brings me back home to that. So, as we're here together, you may hear that. It's quiet, it's fairly quiet today, but often you can hear it no matter where you are in New York or California or um, Italy. I don't know. Great. I'd love to begin by just simply bringing our focus inside a bit. Just make yourself comfortable in whatever seated or lying down position feels best to you. If you're seated, I'd love you to just create a connection with the ground. So just offering some very simple suggestions for creating your connection to the earth. It's really nice to be able to support the joints of the body. So if you are able to rest so that the knees are making contact with the earth, if you're sitting simple cross-legged, or if you're sitting with the legs folded on a pillow, or if you're seated in a chair, allowing your feet to make contact with the floor. And let's just take a little shift to one side and take one hand and just reach underneath your pelvis and find one of your sits bones, that bony bone that's on the inside, you know, toward the pelvic floor. You could feel it with your fingers and just give it a good squeeze and then settle back down on the sits bone. If you're standing, you can just simply shift to one side and feel the earth under that foot, and then come back to center again and feel what that's like, just to make that simple adjustment on one side of the body. And then shift to the other side and do the same thing. Squeeze that sits bone, spread the buttocks flesh, and settle back down. So the sits bones themselves are like the feet. Beautiful. And then whether you feel to close the eyes or keep the gaze soft, just softening the chin toward the heart a bit. I like to find a home for the hands, and sometimes I rest them nested inside one another, making this little egg shape with the thumbs touching, but you could also just simply rest palms down or palms up on the lap. And really we begin to settle by listening to our own body, the sensations that we're experiencing as we settle. Just this simple connection again with the earth. Releasing the jaw, allow your jaw to come unhinged so the lips part. The jaw, releasing it is one of the simplest gateways really into the parasympathetic nervous system, just allowing yourself to be by releasing the jaw. And the tailbone seeking the ground. And sometimes it can be helpful to bring the hands onto the belly and just circle the hands on the belly if you feel like there's any tension there, circling, inviting the belly to really be a belly. And out of that rootedness that you're creating, the spine is inspired to lift skyward. And there's an invitation for the rib cage not to be a cage at all, but to be open and spacious as you breathe. And the shoulders releasing down the back body. And if your hands are open skyward, you can really have that sense of how the inner armpits kind of take on this smile. There's a lifting of the inner armpits. And the crown of the head opening like a flower. And the heart spacious on all sides. And I'd just like to ring this bowl. Just simply listen in to the sound of it as it sounds, as it dissipates. And I'd like to invite you into a very simple breath practice. Feel free to move your body if you are feeling as if you need to shift your position. But I'd love to just have us practice the slowing of the breath, the slowing of the breath. So let's begin by just simply allowing your breath to extend a bit without effort, really. Just bringing your focus to it can be really helpful. So I'll count for the first few cycles. We'll do a cycle of 4 where we breathe in, and we can actually breathe in, and I think I'll lift my hands just to give you that sense of the timing of it. So we'll breathe in for a count of 6, and then we'll pause at the top of the inhalation for a count of 2, say, and then we'll exhale for a count of 6 as well. So just matching. This kind of breathing comes from the Heart Math Institute. Yeah, so this balancing out of the breath, and then we can extend it. So just 4 cycles of breath, breathing in for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and holding for 3, 2, 3, and exhaling for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. pausing for 3, 2, 3, exhaling for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, inhaling for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pausing 3, 2, 3, exhaling 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, inhaling 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pausing 3, 2, 3, exhaling for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just resting for a moment, palms rotated open toward the sky. Again, releasing the jaw, the belly. So if your eyes are closed, open them on an inhalation. That keeps the front brain calm. And let's bring the hands up onto this area that I call the eyes of the heart, right at the top of the sternum here. You can trace the outline of the collarbones here with your fingers. And then drop the pads of the fingers just below the collarbones. And let's just simply circle the fingertips around on the torso, on the upper torso. So it's a gentle, not a probing really, but this circling of the pads of the fingers that's deeply nourishing, actually hydrating for the vagus nerve, which is essential, especially in the times that we're experiencing. So really allowing yourself to give yourself this moment of tenderness. And just notice how that's so calming for you. So this is something you can do at any time. This is very simple practice of circling the pads of the fingers around here at the top of the sternum. Brings you right into this place of peace. Good, and then pausing there with the pads of the fingers still making contact. I like to kind of open the eyes of the heart. So if you imagine that the collarbones are a horizon line, yeah, and you can just gently press into the top of the sternum and open the eyes by stroking the fingers up and over the collarbones. And just notice the quality of breath that that provides you with. How that allows the breath to move up into the upper thoracic. Beautiful. And then relax the hands down again when you're ready to. So another little technique that I learned from my dear friend Margot, who is 89 and still teaching her breath experience. She calls this fish lips. It's just a marvelous way of identifying your authentic breath. And once again, it's one of those things that you can just come into, so if you want to here, just let your lips make this shape like you're blowing out a single birthday candle, and we'll pant in and out, not heavily, but it'll sound something like this. And then you relax. And what I'd love you to do is just bring one hand onto the belly so that you can really feel how the belly um, opens and flowers with the breath after the panting. Because the panting is exercising the diaphragm. And somatically, when you go into the body in a way that contracts and then you do the opposite, there's this wonderful expansion that can occur. And it's a really lovely way to, once again, find your breath rhythm. So panting here with the fish lips. And then totally relax and feel the belly with your hand. And I'm just curious to see if maybe you could raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you could feel that in your body. Did that work for you? Yeah? Not for everybody. Try it again. Give it another go. Yeah. It always feels awesome afterwards. So simple fish lips and panting. And then relax. Release the jaw, relax the belly, breathe. Beautiful. Beautiful. And also there's this kind of transparency that's available when we're allowed to be, when we allow the authentic breath to be, and we can, embody that in our own being, then there's this opening that occurs in us. So there's a reciprocity between our inner landscape and the outer landscape, right? So we can even take in more stimuli without being overwhelmed, right? So these are just some really simple little tools that you can use at any time to bring you into a more authentic you place back home in the breath. I want to read you a quote from a teacher of mine who's a La'au Lapa'au teacher, or a basically plant medicine teacher of mine named David Bruce Leonard. He taught me so much about weeds. A lot of life here is about relating to plants. And if you don't take care of your invasives, by the way, about somewhere between 80 and 90% of the plants in the Hawaiian Islands are actually exotics. Exotics means invasive. They're beautiful. I mean, there's the philodendron, which people have in the banks and the office buildings, and I'm sure you're familiar with those, but they take over whole forests here, right? And then there are trees that people brought, like the African tulip, to beautify the islands and sprinkle them out of the windows of airplanes. And then suddenly there are whole forests of African tulips, and people that visit say, "My, that's so gorgeous. What is that red flower?" And you're like, "Yeah, the red flower. That's Hawaiian snow." And each seed pod opens and spreads like hundreds and hundreds of seeds. And yes, the very inside of the seed is a heart. It's a little heart. Isn't that lovely? Yes, but the heart creates another tree, and then that tree creates a forest, and it's very overwhelming. So 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 this was incredibly helpful to me to work with David Bruce Leonard and to walk my land and to actually use the invasives as medicine. Super awesome. Actually, Leah and I did a retreat here together on my land, and we hope to do one again sometime in the near future. And we actually made a whole meal out of uh, medicinals that are thought to be invasive. That is a very different perception, right? It's like, oh, I can love my enemy. That's freaking revolutionary, right? Oh, my enemy is actually my medicine, right? So David said, um, the resomatization of the body is the reclamation of the planet. The resomatization of the body is the reclamation of the planet. That is such beautiful wisdom, just really profound. So, yeah, to come back to our authentic selves, to access our real breath, our um, our home within, to navigate our way home, has a huge effect on our perception, how we move into the world within ourselves and bring that out to the outer world, how we express ourselves, how we meet others, how we enter other landscapes. Um, the Hawaiians traditionally, and traditionally meaning currently too, not just way back in the past, have a practice of deep listening. And they, before they enter into the forest to gather or hunt, um, they pause to listen to the landscape, to the natural world. Yeah. And they often offer a kahea, yeah, which would be a chant in our language, right? A chant that's appropriate for that place. So place and place names and the song that is sung to them are really important. Um, and when we practice our own practice, whatever it is, if it's writing or singing or teaching to write or sing or dancing or being a mother, uh, whatever your life work is, whatever your passion is in the moment, it can be really powerful to set that relationship, to honor yourself before going in, right, to your landscape. Yeah. So there's a mudra that I like to use. It's called the Shank mudra, and I'd love to teach it to you right now. And this is practiced, of course, in India, but the Shank, which is the conch shell, is also blown here in Hawaii. It's like the kind of the, it is the kahea. It is the sound, you know, that opens the way for calling in the elements, the deities, for honoring them within yourself by listening in to that sound. So there is the bowl, the bell, which is kind of similar in a way, um, a mindfulness bell. But this is a more like calling in, like invoking, you know, as well as honoring. So the shank or the conch shell mudras, you take your um, one of your hands and hold it like this, and bring the other fingers on the other hand around that thumb, right? Just circling that thumb with the fingers of the other hand, and then you take the thumb of the hand that you encircled the other thumb with, and you bring it into this position. So it's this wonderful, yeah. And so when you, it's kind of hard for me to turn it around. When you're looking at your own hand, it's like this. that's facing you, of course. So I'd like to just invite us to make a call, and let's just tone all together Om like 3 times. Just let those vowel sounds resonate and bathe yourself with that sound as you hold this mudra, and then we'll listen in while holding the Shank mudra. Just again, settling in to your breath. Let's practice the fish lips. Why not? Ocean, we're doing the ocean theme here. So becoming the fish and then holding the shell and then sounding, yeah, and listening in. Fish lips, panting, relaxing. Just really allow the ocean of your breath to roll back and forth a few times, releasing the belly and the jaw. And then toning Om. And placing your hands on your heart now. So I'd love to share with you um, some sounds that are very ancient, that are from the ancient Hindu tradition. And actually, some of you may be enrolled in Chloe Goodchild's class, which is coming up in a few weeks, I believe. And she's a marvelous teacher, dear, dear soul, incredible. She calls herself a singing philosopher. And she's just this amazingly lovely light being. You may all already know her. um, she's just somebody that when you meet, you feel so good in your own skin, just being in her presence, even if it's Zoom. It's like really miraculous that way, right? So these are the 7 sounds of love. And I'd love to introduce them to you, and then perhaps you'll have an opportunity to move more deeply with her using these same sounds. So they are going to be sounds that correspond with 7 mudras. And the first mudra is for the sa. So the Indian tonal scale is sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Of course, there are different modes and different sharps and flats and wonderful things that you can do with those 7 notes. And what I love about the Indian tonal scale, and what I've learned from Chloe and others about it, is that it's cyclical. Sa is at the root and sa is at the crown. Sa is listening, I listen. It's also the womb. If you think about the life cycle of human development, the sa is the womb. Yeah? And then the re is the fetus inside of the womb that's been created. And then we have the ga, which is the toddler that's learning and tasting and touching and kind of stretching its limits and stretching your limits by trying to relate to you, and you're trying to relate to the toddler. And then there's the ma, which is the heart, which is the feminine, which is offering flowers. And then there's the pa, throat chakra. And the pa is actually the horizon line where the individual that's been developing from the root up through into this horizon line of the throat chakra is expressing itself in breath or language or song. And then we have da, which is the pineal gland, third eye, and ni, and the locus for that is at the whorl just off the crown of the head, and then sa again. So in terms of that cycle of human development, this is where the small self opens out into the big self through the throat chakra, yeah, which I think is your particular wonderful focus right now, yeah. And then you go into the higher realm where you're being of service and you're holding the sword of discernment for the da. And the ni takes us up into this sort of almost like a temple, stupa, where we gather universally in our love. And then sa, opening all the way out. And instead of at the end of the life cycle, dying at sa, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do in the Western thought is, okay, that's the end. But in India, it's sa, that's the beginning all over again because you flower. Bedan, which is the end of the cycle of life, means to flower. So when somebody dies, Bedan, it's actually flowering, and then they start over again. So this wonderful cyclical way of perceiving the life cycle really helps us not to get attached to the past in the linear Western way that we do, and then shooting forward to the future, right? My to-do list, where am I going? I've got to get to the end of my bullet points, right? There's a goal, okay? That's the ego, right? That's on that trajectory. So you kind of need both, you know? But it's really beautiful to be able to be in the present moment and embody the sounds rather than jumping ahead to the next stage in life, to the next goal. So I'm here to just give you that suggestion, you know, as a way to embody the present moment. So I want to invite us into this simple and beautiful practice. So the first mudra for sa, for the root, is the sword in the sheath. It's actually the masculine protecting the feminine. And what we're really identifying here is this sacred vertical axis, and then the sacred horizontal axis, which is the feminine. The vertical is the masculine, and the horizontal is the feminine, right? And that's true also in my host culture here in Hawaii, right? So it's really a beautiful, and you know exactly where you are in the present moment when you feel yourself precisely in that relationship, the masculine and the feminine identified. So sword in the sheath, a little bit different from the shank. Here's the shank mudra that we learned. This one is that you take your, I'm going to mirror you. You take your left hand and encircle your left thumb with the fingers of the right hand, and you just place them down at your root. So you're just relaxing your hands at your root. It's actually very natural to hold that position. Yeah, so you're resting there at the root. And I'd like to just invite you to hold the hands there as we tone Sa a few times. So in this, we're really going deep into the primordial feminine, the deep earth. Here, there's a word called Po. Po is the deep darkness just before the first light, this little glimmer of red, this ember that's in the Po, that's in the womb, from whence we come and whence we return, right? The Po, Sa. So just really allowing yourself to maybe rock back and forth a little bit and just feel the root underneath your body. And if you're tired of sitting, please feel free to stand. So sensing that root connection, the line of the spine, that true line of the spine, the soft, spacious belly, the flowering heart. Taking a good in-breath. Sa. And again, Sa. Sa. I listen. Sa. Sa. Re. Re. I open. Re. The mudra for Re is you come from Sa. You can see me here. And then Re, you're opening the hands. So there's light radiating out from the center palms. Re, I open. Spreading light, relationship, right? You're coming from the womb into the world with your light. The ember has ignited a little flame. It's like the sun rising over the ocean. Remember the eyes of the heart? That feeling of light in your own being. Let's practice Sa, Re, Re, Sa. Sa, Re. Re, Sa. Beautiful, beautiful. So you can feel how that's tending your root, right? And then this wonderful opening that occurs from that groundedness. All right. Then we come up to the ga. Like if you just say the syllable ga, ga, ga. Can you feel how your body engages, how your core engages. Ga. Yeah, exactly. Tony's got it there. So, so the Ga mudra is this. Ga. It's very powerful. Solar plexus. Ga. The sun of yourself. So this is the locus of the ego, right? I grow. I listen, sa. I open, re. I grow, ga. This is the toddler energy, right? And we need that fire. Yeah, we need to cultivate that fire. And in a way that the fire doesn't get stuck as just fire, right? Fire needs to be harnessed in a beautiful way, which then is balanced out with a ma. So first, let's do the sa, re, ga. Right? Starting with sa. I'm gonna move this so you can see my hands. Sa, re, ga. Ga, re, sa. Ga, re, sa. Let's practice that one again. Sa, re, ga. Sa, re, ga. Beautiful. So these three go together in that they're the instinctual expression of love. I listen, I open, I grow. So this is your nourishment. You're bringing it in, right? It's potent. But if we remain in this state of the ga, I have to say, no, I should not. Certain political figures. Anyway, ga. We know what happens if we stay in the ga without balancing out with the ma. There needs to be reciprocity. I offer flowers. So sare ga, ga, ma, ga, re, sa. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. The interplay of the ga, and the ma. So sweet to discover that in ourselves, that balance. Heal that balance, heal that relationship. And toning it, singing it, does that. It's that simple. It's like you get out, you don't have to go to the head doctor. You go to the body doctor, it's you. You go to your sound and find that. So sa re ga, ga ma, ga. Let's practice that one. Starting with sa. Sa re ga, ga ma ga. Let's practice that one again. Ga ma ga. Ga ma ga. Yeah, beautiful. Ga re sa. Ga re sa. So from the ma, then we're integrated enough to be pa. Pa in Hawaii, pa is a spiritual place, a platform where people practice their prayer of hula. Pa. I love that. I mean, isn't it amazing that the pa means this for the Indians in their expression of the small self entering into the large self? And this is where in Hawaii, and I'm sure other cultures, they have a pa, right? This is where that offering takes place, to bring that sound out into the natural world, reflecting it, honoring it, generation after generation, and forward, 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 by being in the present moment with that offering. So sa, re, ga, ga, ma, pa. That is so beautiful. It's this incredibly joyful, I gotta say, kind of a Julie Andrews moment, folks. Well, anyway, that was the first movie I ever saw in my whole entire life at the Fox Theater in Missoula, Montana, was The Sound of Music. Okay. But that was the feeling in those alpine fields that I got as a small child at the age of 5, watching her waltzing around in the grass. You know, it was like, wow, that's the pa. How marvelous, you know, that higher elevation. So here we are, pa. And the pa is I share. I share. That's the love medicine from the pa. All right, so shall we dare to go all the way up in increments of 3? Sa, re, ga, ga, ma, pa. I can tell you're with me. I'm so thrilled. It's great. Thank you. Thank you for your presence. It's just gorgeous. Okay, sa, re, ga, ga, ma, pa. With breath, with presence, with feeling. And it's not about, of course, how we sound. It's just being the sound. That's also what's so refreshing. You know, it's nothing to do with, you know, knowing how to be a musician, you know, or yeah, it's a totally different, beautiful thing that you're all engaged in. I love it. Okay, sa re ga ga ma pa. Starting with the sa. Sa re ga ga ma pa. Ga ma pa. Yeah, beautiful. And then from the pa, I have to get back a little bit so you can see me, okay? So it makes sense to you. From I share, we go into da, which is I serve, right? Yeah, so it's serving the larger self. And then we come into this full union with the divine, which is the sa, the big sa. Let's see if you can see me here. Okay. Starting with the sa. Sa, re, ga. Let me review the hand position. Sa, re, ga, ga, ma, pa, ga, ma, pa. And from pa, of pa, da. So da is really interesting Da is, okay, here you are in this full expression of the pa, wide open horizon, horizontal axis. So you go from this like explosion of the bowl of flowers, spreading light. It's really surrendered. It's really open. It's vast. It's infinite. It's big. You're giving your whole heart, right? And then you become a warrior. You bring it all back in again. You are a warrior of light. Da. So it's not da like prayer pose that you bring into the heart or to the brow. It's this bringing together the sword, this well-tempered sword, and you're gazing over the fingertips. You're gazing over the tip of the blade of the sword, cutting through illusion to truth. But really, it's a sword of compassion, right? And then you take that sword and you bring it up right above the crown of your head for ni. And then you open up into the all, into the one, into the big sa from there. Sa, ni, da. Beautiful, beautiful. Pa, the throat. Ma, the heart. Ga, the solar plexus. Re, the sacral chakra, sexual organs. Sa, home again, back to the womb, right? So, I think it might be really cool if we were to stand up. What do you think? We've been sitting for a long time. So if you feel like you want to stand up, let's do that. And we can practice the last three together, and then we'll do the whole shebang. And then we'll have the vertical and the horizontal coming together in that. Beautiful. So standing, if you feel to, and maybe what, let's for a moment here, bring your legs together for a moment, bend your knees if you're standing, bring your hands onto your knees for a moment, and just circle the knees around. Just allow your ankles to get a nice massage, let your feet connect with the earth. You're loving up the knees here, just, yeah, letting your body kind of open up a little bit. Good. Great. And then just coming on up and feel free to shift your weight from side to side. Yeah. We'll do some more movement, in a moment. I just want to get us in this vertical horizontal expression. Good. So standing with the feet either, close to each other or hip width apart, and encircling your left thumb with the fingers of the right for the sa. And actually, when we practice the re, we'll be stepping out to the right, and then you open up into the re, opening the hands out. And then from there, the other gestures will just be coming natural to you, but you can have a wider stance for the re and everything else. So just defining this vertical axis for now, with the sa connecting deeply, deeply to the root, to the center of the earth, to the high heavens. Really inhabiting that noble wisdom of the earth. Sa re ga. I listen. I grow. No, I listen, I open, I grow. Sa re ga. Beautiful, beautiful. Ga ma pa. Ga ma pa. Gorgeous, gorgeous, so open, spreading light. Ga ma pa. I grow, I offer, I share. Ga ma pa. And then we have pa da. Here we are with the sword, right? Da, yes. And from da, we go to ni, right above the crown of the head. I serve. And then sa, I am the union with all. So sa nida, sa nita. Yes, yes, beautiful. Nida pa, nita pa. Da pa ma. Da pa ma. Pamaga. Pamaga. Beautiful. Magare. Magare. Gare sa. Gare sa. Excellent. That's so gorgeous. Let's try the whole thing again. Sarega gama pa padani dani sa. And then we can learn a very simple song that I also learned from Chloe to sing on the way down. It's just lovely. Starting with the sa, sa, re, ga. I have a little cat here by my feet. So I don't know if I can step out to the side too far. Starting with sa. Sa, re, ga. We have this fire right in the solar plexus that takes us now to the heart and then up to the throat. Ga ma pa. Ga ma pa. Spreading light, offering your expression. Pa ni, or pa da ni. Pa da ni. Yes, yes. I share, I serve. Ni is I surrender. Ni is I surrender. Da ni sa. Da ni sa. And here's this lovely song that I love to teach you. How I love you. How I love you. Let's practice that together. Sarega, gamapa, padani, danisa. How I love you, how I love you. Sa re ga. And you've got this energy for it, right? Ga ma pa. Ga ma pa. You're offering your full expression. Pa da ni. Pa da ni. And you're refining it into this beautiful offering to source. Dani sa, your sword. Dani sa. How I love you, how I love you. How I love you. How I love you. And the most important thing, just resting inside of the silence, all those vibrations, colors, sounds of love. Let's chant Om together in closing, and I would just invite you to simply open the arms out as you breathe in, and then cross the hands over one another as you bring your arms down over your body. Just really bathing yourself in the beauty of everything that you've brought forward in these sounds. Thank you. That was so beautiful to see you all so present in your expression. So I'd actually love to, I'm wondering if people have the possibility to lie down. Do you have the possibility to lie down on the ground? I would really love that. I'd just like to share some simple somatic movement. We take our beautiful tall mountain vertical axis and just bring it down to the earth so that you're just lying down on the ground, supported.
Erin, there's a
It looks
question.
like,
If it's possible to do this.
yes, there's a question. Yes, wait a minute.
It's the
There's
question.
I'm sorry.
The question, Erin, is around: is it possible to do this sitting?
Um, Not easily. You could lie down in a bed even, but you might not be in a place where there's a bed. Let's see there. I see that. I don't know if Loke looks like you're sitting, and then also Karyana, maybe you're not able to lie down. Huh? You don't have the space to lie down. Okay, it's okay. You know, we can totally work with it. It's just so nice to feel the support of the earth underneath. So whether you're lying down or seated, just allowing your body to settle. returning again to the support of the ground. Returning to the natural breath. Releasing the jaw can help facilitate that, coming home to the breath. Releasing the inner ears as well can create a more spacious quality of being. Allowing the belly to be soft, the throat to be soft. And also, really tuning into the qualities of the vibrations that you made, that you embodied. The sare ga gama pa pa dani dani sa, and the love that's expressed and embodied through making those sounds. In India, they traditionally believe that our blood has a song that starts at conception. And that is the song, that's your prakruti. When somebody you read your pulses in Ayurveda, you're looking for that particular song. And everyone's song is different. Everyone's song is unique unto them. So as you lie there, just knowing that that original song is within you. That original song is with you your whole life. And it's just about returning to that, continuing to return. So you may have had a moment there to really witness the qualities of the emotions that are present in the different sounds of the Indian tonal scale. Holding the mudras and even like embodying the full body mudras and the progression of the notes, each note, enkindling the next and the next and the next, creating this whole orchestra of vibration, sound, color as well. And so as creators, as people that are artists and writers and dancers and tenders of light, it can be really wonderful to voice those emotions. And it doesn't mean that those emotions need to be perfect or beautiful. It's about expressing what's true and having the fire, the courage, the ability to harness the fire and bring it forward, to be witnessed. Whether that's one of my teachers who's a writer, had really emphasized the importance of publishing. But publishing was not about writing your book and getting it out onto the bookshelves or online, or it was about reading your poem to someone else, allowing someone else to take in your particular expression. I always love that quote. I think it's by William Blake, but I know Leonard Cohen has it in a line in one of his wonderful poem songs. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Yeah. And it's really hard to uh, accept that when we've got sciatica, or we're in the middle of doing our taxes, or we just got into a fender bender, or we're going through a divorce. Oh no. And that's how the light gets in. Are you kidding me? But actually, yes, our life experiences give us this amazing material, this compost, you know, and beautiful, beautiful things are flowering out of it. So as you're lying there or sitting there, just notice if there's a part of your body that feels like, or it might be a part of the mind, that feels like it's been left out. There's something that either feels like it's not integrated into the whole. It could be a little worry that you have or you had that's still there for you, even though we did all this beautiful opening and sounding and moving of energy. It could be a pain that you're experiencing. I would just like to invite you to invite that in, bring it into the fold. And sometimes that might mean just simply being present with your breath and allowing your breath to be present with that particular particle of thought or sensation. So if you're lying on the floor, I'd like you to just fold your arms and bring your hands onto your belly for a moment. And if you're seated, you could do the same. And see if you can sense the breath rhythm just as it is. And the breath is always changing, but it's our companion, it's our dearest friend. We can really be more present with what's real for us when we listen to the breath. And I'd love for you to just let yourself breathe in, and we'll practice the simple expression of a sound, of a vowel that comes out of you. Just let the vowel come out of you, whatever that is that wants to come forward. Have it be just this simple expression of the present moment that you're in. And I'll do the same here. I'll tune in and see what's there and let it come out in one breath. Listening, first listening in. and listening. And then as you're resting there and breathing, I'd invite you to just bring your hands onto your upper sternum and take a moment to just tap there on the thymus gland area. The thymus is located behind the heart. Just tap the fingertips below the collarbone at the center sternum. So the thymus is like a little library of, it's our emotional library, right? So we have the blood song that starts at our conception. And then we start to have these experiences in our lives with emotional qualities that impact us. And these are stored in the thymus gland. So just tapping there, kind of awakening the thymus. You might even feel slightly annoying, but that's okay. And then just stop for a moment and sense and feel. And perhaps there's something in there that wants to be expressed, something that you can locate. It might be related to the quality of sensation or the thought that you had invited in. So just note that that could be a possibility. And I'd like you to just drop into that and see if there's something that wants to be expressed from that place. And somatically, you can even go into the challenge, the struggle, not as if you're fully reliving it, but there's this residue perhaps that's present with you. And now there's this opportunity to just express that and let it come out. Sare ga gama pa, pa, out the throat. Tuning in and sounding on your own. And listening to the space that's left after your sound. And now I would like to invite you to do a little movement here. So in lying down, please allow yourself to bend your legs and bring your feet onto the floor. So you're lying on your back with the legs bent and the feet on the ground. And if you're seated, you probably have your feet on the earth where you are. Good. And so it's a little easier to feel this if you're lying down, but it's also totally possible to feel it when you're sitting up. I see someone else has a kitty. I have this kitty. I think I need to put my kitty outside. I'll be right back. I'm just going to put my kitty outside. Just listen to your breath and feel the ground underneath the feet for a moment. I'll be right back. It's okay. It's okay, Suki. There you go, Suki. Let's go outside. Here you go, Soups. There you go. Thank you. Good. So allow yourself to put a little weight in one foot. And when you're lying down, you'll notice that let's put it into the right foot. And so we're all on the same leg. And allow yourself to feel what that's like to have this shift of the pelvis as that right hip point lifts a bit and that right femur bone leaves the hip socket slightly, and then settle back down. Take the weight out of the foot and allow yourself to come back to center. And sense and feel. And then once again, we'll put some weight in the right foot again. And you're just going to allow that right knee to kind of track toward the far left corner of the space. Subtle movement here. And just notice how the upper body responds to that movement. How the breath opens into the body. And then take the weight out of the foot and allow yourself to come back again to center. Good. And with both feet on the ground, hip width apart, let's press into the left foot and allow the left foot to drop into the earth, and let the left, pelvis kind of lift so that the weight comes more onto the right, allowing the left hip point to rise. And then release back again. And then once again, pressing into the left foot, the left hip point rising, the torso responding to that. And when you feel to release, coming back to center. If you're on the floor and you're able to open the arms out wide, so you create this wide horizontal axis. If you're seated, spin the palms open and rest the hands on the lap. So there's this feeling of spaciousness. And also the other way that you can create that horizontal spaciousness if you're seated is to let your elbows float out to the side slightly. So I want you to be as relaxed as possible. So seated, hands on the lap, let the elbows open out slightly so you feel the breath opening into the side bodies. And if you're lying down, you can open the arms out wide into that paw horizontal axis, backs of the arms resting on the floor, palms spun open toward the sky. And then once again, pressing into the right foot, letting that right knee kind of drift and that right hip kind of lift. And you can just feel that spaciousness also in the upper body here. And if you're lying down, you can bend your arms now at right angles and drop the backs of the arms into the floor. And what I'd love you to do is to have the forearms and the fingers pointing toward the sky. So rather than the forearms resting on the ground, you've got yes, exactly. So you're in this right angle position. Because I'm seated, this is an easier way for me to demonstrate. And Kariana, you can also do this. It's a little more challenging here just because, it's gravity isn't helping you out so much. So with the arms bent and that weight emphasized in the right foot and the right knee drifting, I'd like you to go ahead and feel what that's like to have the arms anchoring you, and just allow your upper body to roll in whatever way it feels to, and then take the weight out of the foot and allow yourself to come back to center. And especially if you are seated, relax the arms. It's probably pretty relaxing for you to have the arms bent, you know, because gravity is assisting you if you're on the floor. But just coming back to center. Good. If you're lying down, I'd like you to let the left leg fold open to the left. So just let the left knee fold open to the left so that your left leg can kind of come closer to the floor. And then slide your foot down the center seam of the mat and extend the left leg long. So your left leg is extended and the right leg is bent. It's kind of more challenging to do that in the chair, but feel free to try it out, you know. And then we're going to bend the arms again, dropping the backs of the upper arms into the floor, same manner of that sort of saguaro cacti shape. The forearms and the fingertips are pointing toward the sky above you. So you're hinging the arms. The upper arms are perpendicular to your torso, yeah. And oh, sorry. Yes, they are the upper arms, but you're lying down, so it seems like the lower arms are upper, but actually the upper arms are perpendicular. The forearms and the hands are vertical, right? Yeah, great. Push into the right foot, let that right knee start to drift and allow that weight of the foot to liberate that right femur bone from the hip socket a little bit. If you're seated, it's not going to be quite as easy to get that. Those of you that are lying down with your left leg extended, keep your left arm on the floor. And now extend, reach the right arm into the sky right above you. So you're reaching skyward, your head can stay on the floor. And I would say that Kariana, you could hold, or anybody else that's seated, you could bring that the left hand down onto your chair and anchor while you reach the other arm, the right arm, into the sky. So we're breathing into the sky. And those of you that are lying down, you can kind of hold the arm above you. It's almost like you're reaching for a star above you in the heavens. So there's this quality of suspension in the body. As there's denseness in the right foot, there's this levity of that right arm as you reach skyward. Beautiful. And then from here, let's let the weight come out of the right foot and fold the right arm down. And let's bring both sets of hands onto the center chest. And just simply weave the fingertips onto the sternum here. So the elbows are pointing out to the sides. And then as you hold the hands here, the action is going to be to slide the fingers across the sternum and open up the heart. You're kind of opening up the library of the heart, if you will, so the light shines in. As you do that, let your right knee fold open to the right and allow your hands and arms to come all the way back out into that horizontal axis. So you're lying on the ground, those of you lying down with the left leg extended, the right leg bent, the foot on the valley of the right groin is opening to the right, and the arms are open out wide. Beautiful. And in that wide expanse, I'd love you to just let your head roll to the right and see if you can gaze at the right hand with your eyes. And Kariana, those of you that are seated, I would just invite you to actually just rest your arm in front of you and hold it somewhat with the other arm and look at your hand. And let's make a loose fist, all of us, with the hand, with the right hand, just a very loose fist. And as you breathe in, flower the hand with your breath, breathing into the hand, opening it like a flower. There's the light coming out of the hand. And as you exhale, let the flower fold in again onto itself. So this is this hand-eye coordination here, breathing into the flower. This is a very beautiful, simple somatic practice. As you exhale and the flower folds in, those of you that are lying on the floor, fold your arms in, let your head roll back to center. And so you're assuming that kind of saguaro cacti posture again with the arms bent, the left leg extended, the right foot on the floor. You're going to let that right leg come up and rest the foot on the ground. Yeah, so you come back to that position where the arms are bent, fingertips pointing toward the sky, right? You're in this very natural kind of bent angle shape. The backs of the upper arms are supported by the floor. Left leg extended, right leg bent, foot on the floor. Beautiful. From that position, once again, press into the right foot. Let the right knee start to drift so that that hip point rises. And so that the knee is kind of tracking toward the far left corner of the room. If you're seated, it's going to be subtler, you know. And then from here, with the arms bent, keep that left arm on the floor as you reach toward the sky with the right arm. So you're reaching toward the sky and you're following it with your eyes. At the same time that you're reaching the right arm into the sky, fold the left arm in and let the pads of the fingers rest on your sternum. So that's right, I should be mirroring you. Reaching with the right arm, fingertips of the left hand are resting on the top of the sternum where the thymus gland is, and tap the thymus gland. Tap that. And as you tap it, you're awakening the heart and the desire in the heart to connect to that higher self, to the Saregama Padanisa. And you're just in that sa, reaching for the heavens. And then pause with the tapping. And bend that arm in again and bringing that right arm back down, bringing the hands onto the chest again. When you're ready, sliding the hands away from one another across the heart, opening the heart, opening the arms out wide, opening that right leg out to the side as well as you do that opening. So you're opening the valley of the right groin and opening that horizontal axis. Beautiful. And then rolling the head to the right, small, gentle fist here with the right hand. And as you breathe in, flower the hand. Let it be as slow and as beautiful as you want it to be. It's like watching a butterfly open its wings for the first time, flowering into that expression. As you flower the hand, I'd like you to make a sound. What is the sound of that flowering? The tapping on the thymus, the reaching for the stars, the yearning in the heart. What wants to be expressed? It might be a very small sound. Just allow this sound to come. Maybe it's a sighing or a single note. And is there anything else that wants to come through? And then when you feel ready to roll your head back to center and slide that right foot down the center seam of the mat, returning. So you're returning to your original seated pose, or you're returning to that mini Shavasana. Breathing in, breathing out. And then I would like you to practice it on the other side. So If you want to, you could keep that right leg extended and fold in the left leg and place the left foot on the floor if you're lying down. And the arms could be out to the side. We'll do it incrementally here. When you're ready, pressing into the left foot and allowing that left knee to kind of drift and noticing how the weight shifts and how the breath responds. And then taking the weight out of the left foot, allowing the femur bone to sink back down again, back home. And then on your own timing, once again, pressing into that left foot and letting the left knee drift toward the far right corner of the space. So you're letting that, left hip point lift and the shift occurs. So if you're seated, it's going to be different. It'll be different sensations. But it's wonderful to have the sensations that are there, right? And then allow yourself to return to relative neutral. And now opening the arms out wide into that vast expanse and breathing into that horizontal axis. And then we'll bend the arms and drop the backs of the upper arms into the floor as the forearms and the fingertips and hands point toward the sky. This time, as you press into the left foot, you're going to keep that right arm anchored on the floor, the right bent arm, and you're going to let yourself follow through toward the sky with the with the left arm in hand. And you're reaching up, and you can watch that with your eyes. And if you're seated, it's probably going to be out in front of you a little bit instead of directly ahead, so you're not having to crink your neck, just allowing the throat space to be soft and spacious. Reaching and then letting go of that reach, let the arm come back in, let the weight come out of the foot, bringing both hands onto the torso, sternum area, interweaving the fingers over the heart. And then this beautiful opening gesture, drawing the pads of the fingers across the chest, the elbows moving away from one another. As you open the heart, open the arms and open that left leg out to the left. So left leg is just hinging open, the knees just folding open so the valley of the left groin can open. Yeah, so Kariana, if you're super flexible, I'm not actually, but you could actually place your left foot on your right thigh. And that might be an interesting way of opening up, but it might be too much pressure on the knee or the hip. So just see what that's like. You can just also cock the foot open and let the leg kind of spill open. Yeah, beautiful. And then from that position, rolling the head to the left, gazing at the left hand, flowering the hand on the in-breath. And as you exhale, let that hand fold in again. And we'll turn the head back to center. And as you fold the arms in, then let that left leg come back upright. So you're resting there on the floor with the left leg bent, foot on the ground, right leg extended. And now bending the arms, pressing into the left foot, left knee drifting, the spaciousness in the torso there. As you keep the right arm anchored, now lift the left arm into the sky. Left arm reaching toward your celestial constellation. Yeah, we're in these earthly forms, but we're yearning to connect to spirit. But we're held in these bodies, and this is beautiful tension. And that's where creativity comes from. Folding in the right arm now, bringing the pads of the fingers onto the sternum, tapping the thymus gland, awakening the heart. What yearns to be seen? What yearns to speak or to sing or to be witnessed? And when you pause, with the tapping, let the light from the heavens stream into the heart. So that light spirit comes into the heart, softening the throat, radiant there, and then taking the weight out of the foot. Let that left arm come down, both hands on the chest, interweaving the fingers. And when you feel to, just opening up, and maybe a sound comes through now. Maybe this is the moment where the sound wants to come open and out of you, and you're going to sing it skyward. And as you open the arms, the leg opens out to the left, and you just feel this wonderful sound coming through you. You're a vessel, you're the pourer, you're the sound inside of the vessel. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. And then maybe it feels right to roll the head to the left and gaze at the hand, because the hand is the messenger of the heart. Maybe the sound continues in a different form as you open the flower of the hand. And the gesture of the hand opening and closing, maybe that has a fluctuating sound. And allow yourself to let that sound come to fruition, let it diminish. And then when you're ready, roll your head back to center and slide that left foot down the center seam of your mat. And allow yourself to just rest at home in the sa, in the sa, returning. Sensing, feeling, breathing. So we are right at 8:50, Leah dear, one and all. Feel free to rest. I think Leah wants to join us here in voice, and
Oh my gosh, Erin, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
you're so welcome.
You know, I realized I forgot to do the framing. Usually we'll do a little bit of framing and help you prepare for understanding how Erin and the work that she's bringing to us in terms of the somatic awareness and deep slowing down to become so aware of this tool. This is our body, our voice. This is the vehicle, you know. And so, step one is like get to know your vehicle. So thank you so much for this. And one of the things that we like to do as a ritual in terms of how we end our time together is to take a moment to anchor in what we are carrying with us. What are we carrying with us into our life? And that might be, you might just want to speak to something that you received. You might want to speak a commitment to practice the 7 sounds of love every day. You know, whatever is alive for you, whatever is alive for you in terms of what are you carrying away. And as you share it, you help others remember what came alive for you today. So you help all of us. Take it away.
Yeah, I thank you all so much. It's just a tremendous honor to be with you all, and the uakea, the rain is coming down like this beautiful blessing right now. It's really sweet. Just started like a bit ago. Yeah, thank you. Really want to honor my teachers. Um, the bulk of this came from Chloe Goodchild, and I just really would encourage you to reach out and study with her. I think you might have the opportunity in the span of this course to do that. And so she's offering it similarly, but I think that will be great because in a way it will just like you'll be able to embody it further, you know, and she will add a whole other dimension. I so appreciate this work myself and just find it a touchstone for returning to what holds meaning for me, what I'm beholden to. And then to hear your reflections is such a gift. So thank you for that. I live in this island within an island in the middle of nowhere. And so to be able to to hear your reflections is food for me in this garden that I live in. Yes, thank you.
I think this is when we get to take ourselves off mute and sing dear Erin blessings into her day. Perhaps tap back into the freedom and the gift that she brought into that sacred sound that was yours. And we can sing her out in a beautiful, chaotic way of which is Zoom life. Oh, bye bye, Erin.
Oh,
Thank
you.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Erin.
Mahalo,
Us
Erin.
joy and love.